Okay, I'm so glad it worked out. Welcome to a special agenda. Today we'll be discussing something that most parents have a large fear of, and that is if anything were to happen to them, what would life look like if you have parents and you're worried about something happening to them, or if something happens to you, maybe you're an only child, or you live distant and you're concerned about their well-being and welfare. Um, if you're a parent of a special needs child, what does life look like for them if something were to happen to you and your maid, or they weren't to have, because everyone doesn't have the resources that others have based on their circumstances. Everyone's not able to meet the needs of the ones that you love. And for me, as a parent, I have struggled with worry that if something were to happen to my mate and myself, um, what will be the demise of our children? What will be the demise of those who rely on us? Sometimes the young ones outlive the parents, and sometimes that's not the case, and they're older people raising their grandkids that are in the later relaxed time of their life. It's not easy to let go of what you hope for. And I don't say what you know, because we don't know everything and we don't know the future. You know what you intend, you know what you plan for day to day. You know, you go to sleep at night with what you expect your tomorrow to look like. Most people wake up with, if their children have to go to school, or if they're in programs, or if you have work yourself, um, you have business meetings, you have plans for vacation. But a lot of times, as parents and caregivers, we drop the ball where we continue to live in this day, this moment. We are not careful to actually plan for what things will look like later. If things were to go differently than we planned, if we were to suddenly become ill, or we were to have a car accident, or there was some tragedy, or if we became ill in the manner in which others had to care for us, what is our plan? Most of the times, we don't make plans because we just keep thinking that we have more time, because we are fearful to address the future. We want the future to be what's in our head. We don't take responsibility for the fact that things could change like that. And our intentions aren't necessarily what's going to happen because we want them to, when we haven't laid anything in place to make sure that there is the backup things that need to be covered, that we have backup plans. It's not intentional in the sense that we are negligent. It's intentional in the sense that we are prayerful, we are hopeful, but sometimes we are not realistic. We can see it. We can see our parents aging. We can see our own failing health. We can see the needs of our younger ones increasing and know that we need to set something in place for them so that even we personally get a break. And yet, our fear prevents us from taking the necessary steps and actually moving forward with what we know has to happen. Most of the people in our community do not have life insurance, not because they don't have the means to do it, because you can get a small policy to at the very least make sure your family not trying to sell enough plates to get you covered. It is because it makes it too real. It makes it that it's a possibility that could happen. We're not living in that we can't die. We're living in hope that our hope will prevent us from that. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. Meanwhile, they have $700 in car note payments, went on 3 luxury vacations, have all designer clothes, and have failed to make those provisions. And then that's not the case for all people, but for others, we are also not trusting when it comes to making the necessary provisions for the ones that we love and care for. Maybe it's our offspring. Planning for our parents to make sure in the event that their health starts to fail, what are our plans? Will you be able to maintain taking care of them properly and it not straining your relationship with your mate? Making sure that you can also take care of your other obligations and responsibilities if you have children, a job, and a career, because it's a huge undertaking. And though you do not want them to ever feel like they're not anything but a blessing to you, because those moments are coming. And if this system lasts longer than we hope, that may be our personal situation as well. So it's crucial that we are mindful that we take steps today. That saying that the tomorrow is not promised doesn't mean instant death and you don't have to worry about it. It means that there are other things that may come that you need to be prepared for. And even though you don't know it's coming, you know some things that are possible. There are probabilities based on life. And we don't want to overwhelm those that are willing to help us. It's hard. But love is being honest with yourself and then having hard, gentle conversations with our possibly our parents. Having a conversation with them where they may possibly feel hurt because of the way in which we communicate with them. They're our parents. And sometimes, depends on the relationship and the mindset of the parent, for them, it's hard too because they live in a place where even though they are aware of their things that they're dealing with day to day, their own health issues, it's hard for anyone to confront their mortality. And in the event that you do not die, what do you want this to look like? I've tried to have those conversations with my own loved ones. It was hard. It was extremely hard. When it was my father, he simply didn't want to have a conversation about it. So sometimes that means, as their offspring, you have to make hard decisions for them. Doing what someone wants when you know it is not the best decision for them is unfair, and it doesn't show maturity. And sometimes it really is fear. Courage is doing what's hard. Courage is doing what you have to, even when sometimes it hurts. Anyone that's ever had to rip a band-aid off and you had a lot of hair on your arm or leg, wherever that injury was, knew that it was going to hurt. You start looking for easier ways to take it off. But given that you can't find an easier way, you still have to take it off for it to get air, for it to heal. For us, we worry about my mom and we worry about our own children. Because if you follow me or know me well and my husband well, we have a daughter that is profoundly autistic, um, very bright, very sweet, very kind. But she has other things too. And it is not easy for those that are older and who are not familiar with the things that she is dealing with. And often they're trying to be of assistance in the way that they know how. And occasionally it is misinformation, good intentions, but misinformation. And what happens is it's overwhelming for everyone. For me, I'm a person that struggles with letting go. But I've realized over time and from if, issues that have recently presented themselves that you cannot be everywhere all the time. It is important, like a football team, that you have more than one coach and you have enough backup players. Because there will be times where people will not be where they need to be because they can't. They can't get there. Their ball ain't near them. So you need to send somebody else in, and you need to have someone else. You need to know in the event that someone gets injured, you need to have a backup quarterback. There's not a successful team that has only one ever had one and will never try to have another. It is important that you understand that occasionally an audible has to be called. Yes, follow the play, but the other team is watching your play too. And sometimes they have something else in mind that may overrun what you got. So you have to be able to make adjustments. As a caregiver and a parent, you have to be flexible. There are going to be miscommunications. There are going to be times when things aren't going to go as you need. Your team isn't always going to be able to do everything you said because there are other players on the team on the other side. Everybody's not going to cooperate. Every play ain't going to go as you intend for you to go. If every play went as everybody intend for it to go, both teams can win. That can't work. That can't work. So as a parent, as a caregiver, you have to have a plan in place for most contingencies. You have to know the resources that are available. You have to know who can take care of your children, who can take care of your parents, how this is going to go, how this is going to be paid for, all of those things. Who, when, what, where, and how. And if they're not available, who's next? Who are you pulling from the bench? But you got to have somebody on that bench. If you don't have nobody on that bench, your team gonna have to forfeit. If you don't have enough players, your plays can't be ran. They can't be ran. Today, this right here, we back with my bestie. Autism Source Book. This book gives you information about diagnosis, coping, treatment, healing. That's another issue. That is something that is a sore spot that I struggled with for a while. for both of my children, treatment, and for my own household, coping. There are going to be times when they're having meltdowns. And when they keep having meltdowns and you don't have solutions, it's important that we treat their problems. It's important that we take them to see who needs to be treating them. And if that individual isn't working, the option isn't throw it in the trash. Let's not worry about them getting treatment. How is that productive for them? A lot of times, the reason people don't get their family the treatment that they need, it is a personal decision that really goes down to ego. The issue with ego is it is something that is self-concerning. We convince ourselves sometimes that we are helping them by imposing our thought process on what needs to happen, when in truth, it is our personal shame that is preventing us from allowing them to get the treatment that they need. Our personal prejudices of our trauma experiences from doctors or other people and what they have to say in regards to the fact that this didn't go well. This happened, that happened, it didn't go smoothly. Family members that feel like you don't need to do it, when in fact, it's not their business that it's even happening. If they're not personally involved, they don't need to have anything to say. And even if they are arrived there, let them be arrived there. If they ask you where you're going, I need to go to this building, what you need to do, something personal. I'm gonna give you this little gas money right here. Do you mind picking me back up, or do I need to get Uber, Lyft, or a cab? The bus if it run by. You do what's best for your loved ones, your children, your mate if need be, because you have to protect your own mental health and well-being and theirs. See, there will be less need for coping if we give them the treatment that they need when it is issues that they have that are mental issues, mental health issues. Lots of people hold on to trying to correct them, and they feel if you talk to them enough, if you correct them enough, and you tell them how they can improve, that will resolve it. That's not the problem. They have a chemical imbalance. Mental health issues are chemical imbalances. They are cognitive issues. If you've ever tried to speak to a deaf person with your back turned, they will not hear anything that you say. That is not their form of communication. They cannot communicate that way. They don't hear you. They cannot read your lips. So when you are trying to treat someone with mental health issues by only trying to communicate with them, hoping that they will make adjustments for everyone else around them, that will never work. You are trying to speak to a deaf person with your back turned. They cannot hear you. I want everyone to take the time to check this book out again from my girl, Karen Seth, ex-con. And it's also Fred R. Valkamar, MD. It gives you so much information that, oh my goodness, this book is everything. Oh, it's everything. I got mine and I periodically check it out every chance I get. I renew it till I can't no more. Then they let me check it out one more time. Then I leave it on the shelf again for somebody else for a little while. Then I get it again. Um, but it gives you all the information that you need on how to deal with this, because it's not just autism. It gives you information on where you can get resources, our organizations for autism and internet resources. It gives you recommended reading and information you need on that. But those resources also link you to other individuals that can be of assistance to you for other mental health issues. Soon we will be getting into though planning, and hopefully I'll have someone else talking to you about things that you can do to be of assistance to your loved ones who have mental health issues or possibly even incapacitated and can't care for their self. One of the things that people don't know, and I had to do it for myself, and I always forget to tell other people, is that you can apply for a HIPAA waiver, meaning you can make choices, and this is for any of your children who are over 18. Um, if they have learning disabilities or any other cognitive issues or any issues mentally at all, any mental health issues, because you need to be able to make those executive decisions for them. You don't want someone to be able to decide that they're going to treat them in a way that is against your faith or against their well being and what you know as a parent. But sidebar, on that note, we also have to be mindful of when you get the right professionals that you are respectful in how you communicate with them. You don't have to do everything anyone says, but they should not feel that you don't respect their profession. If it gets to where they are doing things that are questionable, then you got all rights. In all means, you should look for someone else. But we can't be so fearful that every time we take our loved ones somewhere, they're not getting the care that they need because we're interfering. Sometimes interfering is just that. We think that we're helping, but we're not. We don't have the necessary information, but we are fearful. We want things to go a certain way, and it's not. It was hard for us for a while to accept what diagnosis our child really had and accepting of what it really was. When we found out our daughter had autism, before we knew what was going on, we were told she had pervasive developmental delay, which is autism. Um, but we weren't given clear information about what to expect, because in most cases, until you figure out where they are on the spectrum, and that's ever changing, um, you don't know what questions to ask. If someone says, "Where are you going?" you can tell them. But if they don't know where you are, they can't give you directions to where you're going. And if you don't know where you are, it would be hard for you to follow them. So it was kind of that situation. It was hard for us to accept, even once we started to receive the necessary information, that things might not look like what we wanted them to look like. And that was heart wrenching for a very long time. And so that kind of left us stagnant and moving where we needed to. And as other caregivers, I'm certain that that is the issue for others. When it comes to our parents and their health, that's hard. Because when it was my dad, I didn't know everything I needed to know, and he knew before he told me. He'd given me hints, but he wasn't clear because he didn't want me to change or make any adjustments in my life to accommodate him. And by doing that, he didn't give me a chance to make it work. I could have made it work. We could have got him help if I'd known sooner. Sometimes by not being honest about what's going on, you prevent individuals from being the help and the blessing that they can be. And not accepting what's going on, it's the same. You're hindering people from being able to help you in the manner that they need to and can. And if they can't, they may be able to link you up with someone who can do what you need. But if they don't know you need it, or you're not honest about it, and you think you can carry out that weight, sometimes you found out too late. You could have gotten more help, joyful help, if you just decided to let go of your ego. Stop being afraid. Sometimes we're afraid people will say no. But if you never reach out, sometimes things are closer than you think. You might be able to get the help you need. They might be able to be so happy to help you. Sometimes you are almost at your village, but you turn back because of fear. Not having a backup plan and a plan. And pretending that you'll never need one isn't one either. Be kind to each other. Be mindful that our Heavenly Father takes care of us. He knows our needs. But it never hurts to ask. And we have those around us who love us. So be mindful that you can get help from your brothers and sisters, from your siblings, from your friends, if you ask. Stop being afraid. You'll get more yeses than no's if they know you need it. Good night. Love each other. Be kind, even if you are afraid that they might not give it back. It's a choice. Have a good night.